Hello, basketball fans, and welcome to another episode of Raise High at GW from Tonic, the official pre- and post-game host for basketball fans here in the district. With head coach Jamie and Christian, I'm Kevin Burke. Coach, we're out of California, back in the district. How you doing?
Yeah, it's good to be back. Good to be back here in DC.
It's been a busy start to the season for your team. You had 8 games in 16 days, and obviously the results were not what you expected or what you wanted. Let's talk about what you learned about your team here in the first 2 weeks or so.
Yeah, I think it's so important, especially early in the year, to learn everything you can about your team. You know, I always tell our team, the team that learns the most starting from now until the end of the year has the best chance to win it. And there's some teams, their record might seem really great right now, but they haven't learned the experiences they got to have. I think we're learning a lot of that. You know, we've got a really talented team individually. You know, as talented groups I had here, we're still learning how to become a team. And I feel like the process we're going through right now is really strong. The way the guys are holding each other accountable, the way they're loving each other, and the way we're attacking practice every day is really impressive for such an inexperienced group. It's an exciting group to be with every single day.
You kind of touched on it, but obviously most everyone sees the on-the-court results but doesn't see what's happening off the court. So what are you seeing behind the curtain off the court that's giving you some hope here moving forward?
Yeah, the connectivity, able to come into practice and really compete. The way they're holding each other accountable post-game and in practice, at a level, we've had most of these guys only together for about 3 or 4 months. So the way they're able to talk to each other, the way they're able to battle and then kind of communicate afterwards, I think it's really impressive. To have a great team, you got to have a lot of love in the locker room, and I feel like we have a lot of love in the locker room, and there's only a matter of time until that spills over onto the floor. Some of the big moments we've had on the floor this year have been amazing to watch, and some of the low moments have been hard to watch. You see that with inexperienced teams. I'm pleased because I feel like our inexperience is growing every single game, every minute these guys are getting on the floor together.
You've talked about that you wanted to challenge your team out of this gate. Well, you certainly did. You go to California for 5 days. You go to Naples for 5 days. So a tough challenge, but how do you think they responded to that?
I thought the response was really good. And, one of the things that's tough is learning how to play through fatigue. You get to the end of the year, and you're going to play in the conference tournament. You're going to play 3 or 4 games in a short amount of time. Your body's got to be used to being able to do that. And, being able to put our guys in really, really tough travel situations and having to see them respond, I've been impressed with it. I've been impressed with how they've been able to get up each day, keep their focus on the process, what it takes to become a great team. And again, I've been with a lot of teams, and I've watched them go through a schedule like this, and you're going to know whether or not you have a chance to be a great team through this. I feel like we still got a chance to have a great team. Everything we want is right there before us because we're learning at such a rapid rate.
Who are some of those guys that are sticking out to you when you're talking about connectivity and holding each other accountable? Who are the ones that are leading the way there?
Like Brayon Freeman, freshman, comes in really highly touted. The energy that he's learning how to bring in off the bench every single game for us has been contagious, right? And I think that's important. Again, a young player learning how to play college basketball, leading with his energy, and he's gotten some great results because of it. A guy like Joe Bamisil, coming in from Virginia Tech, not playing a ton there. His learning curve has been amazing. After every game, he's like, I want to see my clips. I want to get better at this. I want to be able to help bring our team along, really bought into winning. So those 2 guys jump out at me. Guys like Noel Brown, a guy that everybody in our team loves and really connected with. Every time he scores a basket, gets a rebound, it elevates our group. And so that kind of connectivity, I think, it's like an invisible skill that I think is really important. And I'm just seeing a lot of the invisible skills growing within our team that I maybe haven't seen in the past. And it gives you hope, it gives you confidence, and it's something that you got to have to be a great team.
You've talked about the culture change and how it was going to take you a couple of years when you took this job. What makes the culture this year different than, say, not last year with COVID, but the year before in terms of you got the right culture in place? What makes it different and make you feel different moving forward?
The guys wanting to be held individually accountable and held accountable as a team. It's huge, and you're not going to be great at something unless you're able to take criticism and then turn it into positive results. And I see a team of guys, they're really turning this stuff into positive results. They're hungry to get better. They're hungry to attack it. And when things are really tough, one of our best skills is we really respond together as a unit. And when you're inexperienced, it's really easy to kind of get internal. But our guys do an amazing job of being collective. And those are some attributes that I think great teams have. And I love that we're building that right now through the early in the season.
And there are some positives that we've seen from on the court, primarily on the defensive end of the floor. You're one of the best 3-point defensive teams in the country. What have you learned about your team on the court, specifically on the defensive end?
Well, I think we can be even better defensively. And, again, one of the top teams in the country defending the 3. We're still learning how to rebound the basketball. We've improved a lot over the last week in terms of our ability to get the ball off the defensive glass. Offensively being a great transition team as well. So I think there's a lot of positives, a lot of things that we can lean on that we just have to keep getting better at. And I think it's really easy in anything to overreact on a situation. The reality of it is we want to look at it very academic. We want to look at what we're doing well. We want to be able to hold and improve on those things. And then we want to look at it like, what do we need to improve on to be a great team, and what can we improve on? Having that kind of mindset is going to allow us to move one thing from the improve list to the hold list, and we're going to be in a great position. And it's really that simple. You know, it's not overreacting and saying, well, we've got to overhaul this entire defense or this entire offense. It's really about just identifying, almost on an academic level, we need to get better at these 3 or 4 areas, and then making a concerted effort to go and do that.
I want to change gears here a little bit. A notice that came out a couple weeks ago when we were out in California was the addition of Loyola Chicago to the A-10. It's obviously an exciting proposition, a new media market with Chicago. Yeah. What are your thoughts on Loyola coming to the A-10?
You know, it's great. I mean, they're a basketball place. They've been great as of late. They've got a great basketball history there in Chicago. I think adding that media market to the A-10, adding Loyola Chicago to the A-10 makes a lot of sense for a lot of reasons. You know, they've got a great young coach there. He does an amazing job. It's going to be a great experience. It made the league stronger, which is going to make us stronger, and it's good for everybody.
Do you pay attention to the conference realignment stuff at all, or is it just you find out about it in the news release like we did?
Yeah, well, you kind of pay attention to it because, you know, it will affect recruiting at some level. You know, like we try to get out in Chicago and recruit a good bit. Obviously, Loyola Chicago is going to have a strong imprint there. So you just it will influence a little bit of recruiting and stuff like that. But for the most part, it's all going to be a trickle-down effect, you know. So we're watching to see what happens with the big boys kind of moving around, and then which teams will be taken from our league and which teams will be added. But at the end of the day, I can't control any of it. So, you know, I've got to do a great job controlling our team and just trying to be locked in on that.
It's a fascinating landscape and certainly something we'll keep an eye on as we move forward. When we come back, Coach will talk a little bit about the history here at GW and how that influences the current situation. That's after this timeout.
The Afghanistan Papers are a collection of documents confidentially asking people what went wrong during the war. The public has a right to know what happened.
How do you think you pronounce that?
Mananalu.
Mananalu.
Mananalu?
Mananalu.
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 Mana to me means strength, power, honor.
Mananalu.
That was awesome.
Raise high. This isn't just our battle cry. It's our call, our challenge. Because when you were called to Washington, you were called to higher expectations, to a higher standard. We are called here to advance knowledge, to serve society, to change the world. This is the George Washington University, and what we make is history. So stand up, be bold, take risks, press on, push harder, raise high.
Domino's new oven-baked dips are so new that we made a new commercial about their newness. Try new flavors like our cheesy marinara, baked apple, or hot and melty 5-cheese with our not new but still delicious twists. Carry out Domino's new oven-baked dips and twist combos or any 3-topping pizzas for $7.99 each.
Choose from 12 different specialized master's programs and more than 25 graduate certificates for ultimate customization. You're a business leader in the making, and GW is where your future begins.
Welcome back to Raise High GW. Coach, I know you've talked about the history of this program with your team. Let's take a look inside the GW vault at some of the great memories.
Across 4+ decades of memorable GW men's basketball moments at the Charles E. Smith Center, it's hard to top the scenes of February 4th, 1995. That day, President Bill Clinton was part of a raucous crowd that spurred the Buff and Blue to a 78-75 victory over top-ranked UMass. Kwame Evans scored a game-high 27 points to lead the Colonials past the Minutemen, and then afterward emerged from the flood of jubilant fans to take a seat atop the basket in an iconic celebration. Clinton and his daughter Chelsea had prime seats for the upset before the president paid a post-game visit to the Buff and Blue locker room to offer his congratulations in the ultimate only at GW memory.
that UMass game, I think, kind of stamped us across the country. Yeah, that was a big, big moment for GW basketball.
UMass brought a 16-game winning streak to Foggy Bottom, but GW found a way to extinguish that run amid a festive atmosphere. GW's veteran cast of Evans, Vaughn Jones, and Nimbo Hammonds combined for 63 of the team's 78 points, and the Buff and Blue broke from their usual scouting report with a zone defense that surprised the Minutemen. The contest went down to the final buzzer. The Colonials led by 1 when Jones delivered a pair of clutch free throws with 4 seconds remaining, and the Minutemen's desperation try to tie sailed off target, triggering a celebration for the ages. Amid the revelry, Evans got a boost up to take a seat on the basket, providing a snapshot that would make its way into newspapers across the country the next day.
It wasn't planned or anything. I guess I kind of escaped the crowd a little bit, and it happened to be on the front page of the Washington Post, so that was pretty cool. It was just signified, that we had beat the #1 team and how happy we were to do it.
The photo still endures today, a fitting celebration of one of the program's all-time greats after one of its most triumphant moments.
What can you say? Everything happened the way it should have been. He leads the team, he scores the points, and by all rights, he took the proper seat after the final whistle.
A post-game meet and greet with President Clinton provided the icing on the cake. The first fan had met Mike Jarvis at a White House event the previous year and picked a perfect occasion to take the GW coach up on the invitation to visit Smith Center. Thinking back, Evans couldn't have scripted it any better. The Baltimore native finished his GW career with 4 postseason trips, including an appearance in the 1993 Sweet 16.
It's right up there with the top. It's got to be top 3, I would say, maybe even 1. It's a good memory that you'll never forget. Just so much that went on with that game.
Kwame Evans leading all scorers with 27 points, and he's sitting on the rim.
So we've seen it here before. You can take down a #1 team like they did back in '95. How much do you talk about the history of this program with this current team?
We talk a good bit about our history with our team. And I think it's really important. In recruiting, we talk a lot about our history. I think our history shows where we can go, how far we've come. It also shows the peaks and the valleys. And I think it's important to understand that the process of greatness takes time. And it's not going to always be perfect, and you're going to have to find a way to build it. And so we talk a lot about our history. We try to bring our alums back, and they spend time with them and have great conversations with them in practice and stuff. So it's been a great experience. Me learning the history as well, but then helping our players understand that they're part of something really, really special.
How often do you get a chance to bring a former player in? Because I know with these trips we were able to go to California and Florida and see some guys that you necessarily wouldn't normally see. So how often do you involve the alumni? Yeah,
we're trying to bring an alumnus in at least once a month. In the summertime, it's a lot easier. We have a lot of our alums around the summertime. We do have a lot of guys still playing, so when they're coming back to DC to visit, they get a chance to stop in. So I would say in the summertime, usually about once a week. And during the year, it's usually about once a month that we get these guys able to come back in here. Mo Creek stopped in about a week ago and spent about 30 minutes with our guys. They have great respect for him because they know what a great player he was, but he's so visible with our program, and he's around with our program. He's so supportive on social media. So he's a guy that, off the top of my head, they have such great respect for because he's spending a lot of time with them on a weekly basis.
How much do you guys or how much are the guys researching their own? Do you see them pulling up clips? Hey, do you see this from Pops or from Mo Creek or something like that?
You know what's interesting? You don't know. They have such ability now to kind of research on their own. Mm-hmm. And so what's interesting is when they come to you with an idea and come to you with the fact that you remember seeing this, and because now they're just such a Google generation, right? So they're Googling things, Googling names, looking it up. I think we do a great job here at GW of shouting our history and sharing that. And when they do that, our players, they clamor for more information about it.
And speaking of clamoring for it, this fan base is always super supportive. They're looking at the 93 Sweet 16. You're looking at the NIT title in 2016. How important is it to you to add to that history?
Well, it's everything. It's why I'm here. How many times do you get a chance to work at a program that was number 6 in the country at one point? How many times do you get a chance to work at a place that went to a Sweet 16, right? So you don't get that opportunity very often. Those opportunities aren't just plentiful for everybody. So it's a huge responsibility to add to the history, to lay another perfect brick for the next generation to be able to continue to improve and to do a great job with it. We're all renting the space that we're in. We have a great space here to rent. Got to make sure we're doing a great job of adding to that. I definitely feel like the energy that we're bringing back to it in the rebuild that we're in the process of, we're moving towards that direction. I think special things are really ahead.
We've started to see the energy come back to the Smith Center. I know you've had some fun interactions with the front row of George's Army here. What's that been like now that we're about a month into the season, just to be back to relative normal and having a student section right behind you?
Well, the energy that they're giving our team, the energy that they're giving us, I think it's hard to put a number on it because it's so valuable. You know, watching a guy like Joe Bamisile interact, watching Ricky Lindo interact with our student section, you know, it's what you love about college basketball. It's that connection with the people in the stands, the connection with people in the arena, the connection with your fellow students, and watching our guys grow with that. And you think we have a lot of guys here who didn't experience any of that. You know, maybe only Amir Harris and Miles Galley were the only two guys on our roster that experienced any kind of interaction within the Smith Center. That's a long time ago. So watching this fan base grow with our current players, it's going to be really special. It's going to be a connection that I think is going to really be able to push us into be one of the top 10 teams in the A-10.
As you always say, connectivity is our gift, and that extends beyond the court into the stands, and we're excited to have folks back in the Smith Center. Coach, best of luck. Thanks for joining us again.
Thanks so much.
Coming up next, we talk with Caroline McCombs from the women's basketball program. That's next on Raise High at GW.
This is our water, and this is also water, but it's more than that. This is a belief that our oceans are better filled with life than with plastic. So let's start sipping like lives depend on it, because they do. Mananalu, sip for life.
I had life-threatening bleeding in my brain. But thanks to the virtual reality technology at GW Hospital, my surgeons were able to look inside my brain and plan for a successful surgery. It's remarkable that I woke up and ran 5 miles this morning. I would tell GW Hospital, thank you for giving me new life.
For life's defining moments, the George Washington University Hospital, defining medicine.
Domino's new oven-baked dips are so new that we made a new commercial about their newness. Try new flavors like our cheesy marinara, baked apple, or hot and melty 5 cheese with our not new but still delicious twists. Carry out Domino's new oven-baked dips and twist combos or any 3-topping pizzas for $7.99 each.
Welcome back to Raise High at GW. In our next edition of our Walk on the Mall series, Coach Christian had a chance to take a stroll with Mike Tapscott, the director of the Multicultural Student Services Center here at GW. Let's take a look.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Walk on the Mall. I'm here with my good friend Michael Tapscott, Director of Multicultural Services here at GW. Michael, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Coach. Great to see you.
Thanks, man. Thanks for taking a walk with me.
Pleasure.
Talk to me, what's it like to be the director of one of the most culturally diverse campuses in the country?
Well, you know, diversity is ever-growing phenomenon around this nation. And while we're dealing with some challenges, we're fortunate at GW that we've got a great community that seems really committed to diversity and inclusion. From students, faculty, staff, even alumni. People are seeking training, they're getting involved in programming, they're sharing experiences, and for me, it makes the job just really enjoyable. More importantly, I think it sets a foundation for how young people should live for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, you know, one of the things I love about our time here, we've been able to work together some, just how passionate you are about our students. You know, you're one of the people that's always out interacting, creating different programming. Just talk to me a little about your passion about leading students.
Well, I think, you know, I'm kind of old school. I've been doing this for a long time. I think this is 44th year in university administration. But the big thing was that I believe in something called in loco parentis, which says on campus, you're the dad. And so I take that role, much like you do.
Yeah.
I see you out there. I take the role of parenting or being a role model or a leader really seriously. You know, the job is an incredible job, but more important than anything else, it's a role I feel like I have to play.
Yeah.
So every student is an opportunity for learning. Every student interacts with this, it's an opportunity for learning and growth. Every experience does the same thing. And, you know, as I see, I've seen you engage in kids on campus, and I know that you feel similarly.
Yeah.
Thanks again to Coach Christian and Mike Tapscott, and for the full video, head to gwsports.com. We're now pleased to be joined for the first time in person at Tonic by head coach Caroline McCombs in her first season here with the women's basketball program. Coach, how you doing?
I'm great. Thanks, Kevin. It's great to be here.
Take us through your first month actually being on the floor and being able to coach your team. What surprised you? What have you learned about your team?
Yeah, we learned a ton. I mean, 7 games under our belt each day. It's a new experience. Just really enjoy getting out on the floor with this group. I love our toughness. We play really hard. They take pride in their defense, and I love that. We've been able to, start that from day one and just kind of see what that growth looks like. So every game is a new opportunity for us. They've presented a lot of different challenges. So really just excited to keep growing with this group.
We're talking about, when you have a new roster like you do with so many newcomers, there's also the dynamic that you're a new coach, so even the returners that GW fans know about are new to you. So what's that dynamic been like trying to piece it all together?
It's been a lot of fun. It really is, just calling somebody's name, putting them into the game. We've just given, I think, a lot of opportunities, for our players to get out there and show what they can do. And so I really enjoy watching them, teaching them. I'm learning them every day how to coach them. I don't coach any 2 people the same. And so just how I talk to them, how we communicate with each other, it's so important. We're just learning, so much about each other. And it's just been a really, really neat process to go through.
And we've been seeing you learn about your team because you're going 9, 10, sometimes 11 deep. Is that something that is part of your style, or is that just a product of what has happened with all the new faces?
Yeah, we have not yet shown a full roster in a game, which is amazing. And so different people have had to step up with their opportunities with certain players being out. But if we can play more people, I told them it's, if you're tired, tell me you're tired. I know you're going as hard as you can, and that's not a bad thing. We'll get you a sub. Somebody will get better coming off the bench. And so that's really been our philosophy to this point in time. And again, just with matchups and different people that we need at different times, we're seeing a lot of players get out on the floor, and it's been really fun for our team.
And your hallmark has always been your lockdown defense, and we've seen that come to fruition here in the first month or so of the season. How does it get better, though? Or are you excited about where it is so far?
I like where we are. There's definitely room for improvement. We should spend time on film and really teaching what we're doing. So again, with 7 games under our belt, our hope is before we get into conference play, really have seen a lot of different actions, offensively. And so that just gives us different opportunities to teach and to grow. And so they can start recognizing some things on their own. Our defense doesn't change game to game. And so that's what's so good about it, is that our players, will learn it, they'll embrace it. And then we don't have to make as many adjustments, as we do, as you would maybe in some other types of defenses.
On our last episode, we talked with Essence Brown, who's been perhaps one of your best lockdown defenders this season. She says you coach defense differently. So what do you think that means from her perspective? Can you take us a little bit inside of how you teach defense?
Yeah, I mean, it starts with an individual responsibility and our team identity. So everybody has, their responsibilities in our man-to-man defense, and but it's really a team effort. 10 eyes on the ball with everything that we do. The ball scores, so that's the most important thing. I don't know what it looks like for other people. I just know how we've been teaching it and had success in it, and we want to keep growing it. I think we still do have a long way to go, even though it's been a good start. We can continue to build upon it.
How much does it help to have that veteran presence like Essence, who can be that bridge and somebody that you can rely on, where she's playing, 30, 35 minutes a game?
Yeah, she's been doing a fantastic job for us. She typically starts out on the other team's go-to player, and she's just done tremendous. And it's just exciting to see her buy into that role. Again, it's not just her job, it's everybody's job, but at the same time, she's just really flourished in that. And that's really been a mainstay for us, and it's been essential for our success.
Similar to the men's program, you had some trips that you got to learn about. You go to Minnesota, you got to go to Puerto Rico for a couple days over Thanksgiving, but now here in December, you're not leaving the district. Your only road game, I believe, is at Georgetown, if I'm not mistaken. So how much does this time and this month now allow you to perhaps put in some more things that you were talking about and grow towards the conference play starting on New Year's Day?
Yeah, definitely. Anytime you get a chance to practice, you really enjoy that without having to do game preparation. We always want to focus on ourselves, regardless of our next game, our next opponent. But when you do get those days where you can really just, not have to do anything regarding a scouting report, it's nice because, again, we want to keep growing our team. We definitely have a long way to go offensively. But just, I think every day that you get an opportunity to practice, we're going to grow in those chances.
I know you don't like me to say the G word, goals, because that's foreign to you, but how are you measuring progress here? Now, you said 7 games in the season. What are the measurable things you're looking for?
Yeah, I think, one of the phrases that we like is, we strive for progress, not perfection. And so just every day we want to grow, we want to get better. People are learning their roles. I think that's a vital part of a team's success, is just everybody buying into your role. Your value is not your stat sheet. Everybody's role is just so important, on our team. I mean, we have players that don't get in to a game and their role might be on the scout team, and that is an essential role, and we have players buying into those, and so it's really important. And like I said before, with injuries and things like that, people being out, other people have to step up, and so I think it is really important, and because they're getting those opportunities, it's huge growth that we're seeing with different players out on the floor.
Last question for you. Has there been a surprise in the first month? I'm sure there has, but what has been perhaps the biggest surprise that stuck out to you here to get things started?
I think what I love about our team is just like our toughness and our fight, and like no matter what the score is, we're just competing every possession, and I think that's what you want your team to be able to do. And so, we a lot of times say don't look at the scoreboard, we're just playing the game possession by possession, and they're really buying into that. Also, I think the love that they have for each other is really exciting to see. They just continue to get more connected and care about each other more and more every day. And so when you have a chance to go on a trip like to Puerto Rico, I think those are opportunities that go a long way in building that connection, and that's been enjoyable to see. I think now we're home, and just making sure we find the time to spend together, even though we are sleeping in our own beds and not traveling as much, but just finding that time through this holiday season to spend with each other off the basketball court.
Absolutely, and a lot of time to spend here in the district. Coach, we appreciate the time. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you.
That'll do it for this episode of Raise High at GW. Lots of opportunities for men's and women's basketball here in the district over the next month. We hope to see you at the Smith Center. We'll talk to you next time here from Raise High at GW.